Welcome back to the Sky Lifestyles Coaching Series, helping men all around the world to attract and connect with women on level few men will ever experience.
Hey, it's David D. Welcome to another edition of Interviews with Dating Gurus. Today I'm talking to Cory Skyy. He's the creator of the Magnetic Mindset program. Cory's a dating coach, what he calls an executive dating coach. He does one-on-one coaching that's priced between $10,000 and even up to $75,000. He has clients all over the world. He teaches live workshops. And what I really like about Cory is that his focus is on my favorite area, which is the inner game and clearing out old negative programming that really affects all areas of your life and all aspects of your life, from dating to business to relationships to everything, and going in and replacing that stuff with more empowering beliefs, mindsets, and material that turn you into a more attractive person so that you naturally attract women. So welcome, Cory.
Thank you, David.
So it's very interesting to talk to you. In just the little bit that we've talked before now, it sounds like, we have a lot of similar ideas. And, the more years go by and the more I learn more about this area, the more I teach in this area, the more experts I get to know, the more I realize that when it comes to really being fulfilled in the long term and having success with women that makes you feel better about yourself and that leads to more long-term happiness, becoming more attractive is really where it's at, right? It's not so much in, just the techniques. And I'm interested to hear, how did you come to that realization?
I mean, it's really a long story. I'll try to make it as short as I possibly can. Pretty much, ever since the age of 10, when I really first locked eyes with a girl, it was just, I had an amazing connection, and I was only 10, and I locked eyes and, had this great, phenomenal connection with this 10th grader. Believe it or not, I was 10 years old and I was having a connection with a 10th grader. I have no idea how that happened. But whatever, in any case, it really inspired me to, continue doing that. And, and that's really why I never played sports, why I never really did anything that normal guys would do. I was always 100% into women. That's all I ever thought about. That's all I ever did. Basically, everything in my life from 10 years old on revolved around women.
It sounds like a perfectly balanced life.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, it was far from easy. I was always broke as a joke. I was always struggling to get by, but I really didn't care because all I ever focused on was women. And to be honest with you, that's all I ever had. I've dated models, I've dated actresses, I've dated, some of the most beautiful women in the world, all over the world. And it just purely happens just by me looking at them in their eyes and having that deep connection. It wasn't the sex that I was after. It was the connection that I had with the women. And that's real, true, deep connection. And that's ultimately what we all want. It's not about just approaching a girl and getting a phone number and trying to build attraction. Like you said, David, you said, I've heard you say it before, attraction isn't a choice. When you look into a woman's eyes and you have that unexplainable feeling, that's priceless. Every single person wants that. Every woman out there wants that. But so many guys are just so scared of looking into women's eyes.
Yeah, simple but true. Another thing, that we should get into at some point here is this idea that all men have the natural ability to connect with and attract women. It's just, they never developed it, or it's all screwed up and that kind of thing. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I feel that every single man has this within them. It's just somewhere along the lines, they lost it. Whether it be, religion, society, maybe your mother raised you. Believe it or not, when you are raised by your mother, and she's sitting there, well, be a nice little boy, treat the women with respect, buy them flowers, be kind, do all this stuff, you don't understand, how much of an effect that really has on guys. I was actually talking to my mom the other day, and I was like, honestly, Mom, I'm so glad that I didn't listen to a word you said all those years. What
a sweet thing to say to your mother.
Yeah, no, but she actually laughed, and she understands, because she knows, how I've always been with women. So every time I'd come home, the last thing when I left her that she would tell me was, would you please be nice to the ladies? And every time, I would always, every single time I fly anywhere, I always meet a girl in the airport. We'd end up flying together. We'd get off the plane, and my mom every single time would always think that, I had a girl with me. But I was like, no, just another one I just met.
So as you've transitioned into, from just kind of getting it naturally into teaching, what were your big insights? Like, what is it that blocks most guys from having that automatic, natural connection?
Well, my view on it, which I mean, it's been proven time after time again, is, man and woman are like magnets. Okay, we naturally are attracted to each other. Now, if you put garbage, or if you cover one of the magnets up, they're not going to stick. Okay, now let's just pretend here. I mean, a lot of guys out there, they have a lot of garbage on their magnet. Now, women are always putting themselves out there to you. Women are always, every single place you go, there's a woman there that's interested in you. I promise you, I don't care what you look like. There is a woman everywhere you go interested in you. But you have so much garbage on your side of the magnet that you're basically putting that wall up and preventing anything from actually happening. That you're preventing that connection from actually happening. And as long as you have that garbage, there's no way possible that you can connect with the other magnet, being the girl. You've got to get rid of that garbage off of that magnet. You've got to get rid of all those limiting beliefs off that magnet, so you can actually naturally, as a man, start attracting women everywhere you go. I promise you, it's possible for everybody out there to have women approach them when they go out at night. Have women approach them in bookstores, on the side of the street. I don't care where you are. I've met women driving down the street, and so have the guys that I've worked with.
All right, so let's say we've got a guy here who, his whole life he has never attracted women. Mm-hmm. In fact, he's walking around in a universe where he doesn't know that women and men are attracted to each other. He thinks there's maybe something wrong with him. I think this is autobiographical, by the way. I think I'm describing me at an earlier phase of my life. And, all this stuff is like, I've heard these techniques, whatever. How do you, what are the steps you go through to help that guy go from that place to he goes out and women approach him and he knows what to do and he connects with them?
Well, I mean, it is a process, and it definitely does not happen overnight. But the basic process is you've got to fix the exterior stuff first. That's just the basic stuff. You have to find your style. Are you wearing tight jeans and a t-shirt running around town? You know what? That's not sexy. If you're Brad Pitt, that is sexy. But you have to find your style that makes you look and feel sexy. Okay, that's the first thing that you have to do. You have to find your own style. I'm not saying fashion. Fashion is the latest trends and brand name shit. I don't care if it's, Walmart jeans or Guess. I don't care what kind of jeans it is, as long as it looks good. And as long as it fits you, it fits who you are, fits the best person that you are, brings out the best of you to where you can physically look in the mirror and say, damn, I look good. Why do you think women look in front of the mirror all the time? They have to look and feel good. Remember, feeling, that's emotion, and that is what women's lives revolve around. So the basic outline is you fix the exterior, then you go into the foundational work. Along with the foundational work, you've got to take care of different physical aspects of your life. You know, some guys, you know, go and when they sit down, they cross their legs and they look feminine. You know, I've worked with guys that have sat there and picked up a drink and it literally looks like they're drinking out of a sippy cup. A 40-year-old man, and it looks like you're drinking out of a sippy cup. What's going on here? Okay.
Well, you know, he's been drinking that way since he was drinking out of a sippy cup.
Exactly. And that's the sad part. The worst part about society is even your friends, our friends don't tell us that we're doing this shit. You know, I mean, you look at a friend like you want them to tell you stuff, but the bottom line is most people don't pick up on the stuff. If you look like you're drinking out of a sippy cup, you know, your friend's going to look at you and like know that something is off, but they just can't put their finger on what it is. I mean, you know, some people just don't swallow their saliva. You've got to swallow your saliva so you don't get foam in the sides of your mouth. And, you know, and there's a lot of qualities, there's a lot of characteristics, you know, physical characteristics that when we were 4 and 5 years old that have been taken on to 30 and 40 years old. And without somebody physically being there and showing you what those are, you know, you can't really tell. You've really got to be conscious of it every single day. After taking care of the physical qualities like that, then it's really going into the next level of really being able to connect with women and being able to genuinely express interest in her, to be able to look into her eye and really want to get to know her. That's what this is about. That's what separates me, that's what separates all my guys from 99% of the world, everybody else out there, because I genuinely am interested in meeting women. It's not just about getting in the sack and scoring with her and getting her, you know, back to my place just so I can, you know, do whatever. You know, it's not about that. It's about just genuinely being in the moment and being real. You know, and then from that point we go into, you know, the real game, what I like to call the real game. And the real game to me is basically the eye game. 99% of women out there know how to play it. 1% of the guys out there know how to play it. Why? This is how women want to be approached. They don't want just some random guy coming up and approaching them. If we're talking about a beautiful girl, she gets approached probably 10 times a day by guys giving her corny pickup lines, sleazy guys, just arrogant guys, asshole guys. You know, why do you want to approach her? That's bullshit. Why don't you do the work, do the prep work ahead of time? Yes, it is a lot of work on yourself. But in the end, what happens is you do get women to approach you. It is extremely hot. You're only dealing with women that you're completely 100% attracted to. It's true connection.
Okay, so you opened up a couple of different loops there that we need to dive into because I think you've got some great stuff here. Yeah, I've never heard anyone just put it as bluntly as you did about some of the challenges that we have, you know, that we just bring these bad habits from childhood, and there's some very basic ones that guys have. You know, sometimes at my live programs, I'll have a guy come up on stage and he'll be working with me. This just happened a few months ago. And I'll be asking him about his challenges or his objectives or, you know, what he's trying to do. And during the conversation, I'll say, well, you know, one thing you could do right now is actually sit up straight. And then, you know, he'll sit up straight and he doesn't know how. So we've got to like say, okay, no, don't stick your chest out like you're being stabbed in the back. You know, just hold yourself upright, put your shoulders back a little bit, hold your head up. Relax, you know, give me some positive eye contact. And then maybe I'll say to the audience, okay, you know, what on a scale of, you know, 1 to 10, like how many steps did he jump up in attractiveness and looking like a man with that 30 seconds of coaching? And usually it'll be like 3 or 4, you know, steps up. I mean, he'll go from like a 5 to a 9 or something of, you know, on the manliness scale. It's really incredible how much these little things, like the difference that they can make. So I'm interested. Maybe we can dive in quickly. You know, you kind of gave me an outline of 4 different steps here. When a guy is going to find his style and find clothing that makes him look and feel sexy, what should he do? What's the first step there? How do you start there?
Right. Well, there's several different things that you can do. And the first one that you need to do is you need to find a couple women, and I'm sure you've got a couple women, just friends in your life. Okay? Just go shopping with them. Ask them if they want to go out shopping and tell them that you'll buy them lunch. And you go shopping with them. And okay, so maybe she doesn't have great style. That's okay. But the biggest thing that you want to do is when you go to a store and you're trying things on, and you try something on and it totally looks ridiculous on you. And then you go out to her in the beginning and you go out to her and ask her what she thinks. And if you know for a fact that this article of clothing looks stupid on you, and she says, oh yeah, I like that, call her on her shit. say, no it doesn't. Why would you tell me that it looks good? And I promise you, if you do this a couple times with the girl, it'll really open her up to tell you the actual truth and really how she views it. Because women will tell you what you want to hear. It's human nature. Guys do the same thing. But if you've got to open them up, just call them out on it and say, I know for a fact that this doesn't look good. Why would you tell me that? And then, you do that a couple times, and then you start trying on things, and you can actually get positive and good feedback from her.
Yeah, because of course, a woman would never, being more sensitive, would never want to hurt your feelings or hurt your self-esteem.
Absolutely.
And she already knows that you've got no style anyway, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, women don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to turn us down as guys, but it's the way we're taking and approaching things that they are forced to be mean to us a lot of times. They're forced to reject us, in many areas. The other angle that you can take is there's something that I always recommend all my guys to do is to go out and find a couple stores that are a little bit more trendier, or, you can even go to the Salvation Army. I don't care. Find a couple stores that you can really relate and connect with the associates and the manager at the store. You want to be able to get a good vibe, a good feeling. You want to be able to go in there and say, hey, John, how you doing? You want that entrance. Because for one, that makes you feel good immediately when you go in there. And you want to get their feedback on really what looks good. And if you find somebody that's gay, maybe you've got a gay friend. Maybe you've got a friend of a friend that is gay. I promise you, gay guys have got great sense of fashion. They're awesome to go shopping with. Awesome. I love shopping with gay guys. I've got so many gay friends in my life, and we'll go out and we'll have the time of our lives shopping, and they will tell you what looks good and what doesn't. But you've got to do the same thing even with them the first couple times, because you don't want them sugarcoating anything. So call them on their shit and say, I know it doesn't look good. But I mean, when you've got to do those two things when you're doing this, I mean, that's a process that you have to take when you're going out to, establish your own style. And, and accessories. Accessories is another big thing. Women have all got a lot of jewelry on. Why? Because it makes them feel good. It's good conversation pieces. That's all it is. It's a conversation piece. You have a nice watch on. Great. All you're going to do is get compliments on that watch. Well, what does a compliment do to you? What does it do to your self-esteem? Every time you get a compliment, you're like, oh yeah, wow. Somebody says, wow, I like that watch. Where'd you get that? How does that make you feel? So many guys don't do that, whether it be a necklace, a watch, a bracelet. Just it's the little things that make such a big difference on your self-esteem.
You're talking about some things here that are so, they're almost frighteningly obvious when you look at them in retrospect, which is, like all simple genius ideas, right? One of the things that I've learned is that none of us have a perfect, quote unquote, body. That 99% of us guys were not born with that perfect athletic physique, and we don't have to do anything to get it. We don't fit perfectly into the off-the-rack clothes, and, we're not the ideal size and all that kind of thing. And, most of us, on average, are not the absolute average, right? We fall on one side of the equation. We're a little skinnier, we're a little shorter, we're a little taller, we're a little heavier or something. And it turns out that different cuts of clothing actually make different shapes of bodies look either much more or much less attractive. And,
Absolutely.
Maybe there's a cut of pants that looks good on your particular body. And that, those jeans are not in style right now. In fact, the opposite cut of jeans is in style. I mean, maybe baggy jeans look really good on your type of body, and maybe skinny jeans are in style right now. And it's still much better for you to wear, a little looser fitting jeans because they complement your body style. And you see all the time guys wearing stuff just to kind of conform or just do the cool thing. And I kind of look at them and I think, what are you doing there? All you're communicating is that you're a follower, not you're somebody who really understands how clothing, change the way your body looks.
Well, I mean, that goes into, really developing and finding your own style. I'm not saying what's in style at the current moment. What's the latest fashion? What's the latest trends? I'm saying find your own style. What fits you? If you're a bigger guy, you need to wear clothes that make you look a little bit trimmer. If you're a really tiny, short, skinny guy, you need to wear clothes that make you look a little bit bigger. I'm only 5'9", but when I go out, I project myself out, and every single girl that I've ever dated, his style was at least 6 foot. Why? It's because a lot of it is my style and the way I carry myself. Okay? And it's really, really important to develop your own style. Don't opt to fit in. Some people today world try to fit in. They try to fit in and then so they don't want to stand out. They don't want to be noticed. Why? It's okay to go out and be noticed. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're going to continue, if you want to be great with women, but you want to continue to dress the way you've always dressed so you don't stand out, so you just fit in, how is any woman supposed to even know that you're there if you just blend in with everybody else? That's one of the biggest commonalities with every guy that I work with. When they walk into a bar, they disappear. They're gone. They're out of it. You can't find them. Okay? One of the biggest things that I teach is how to project yourself, very comfortable, very confident, very sexually confident. Okay? In a way that when you walk into a room, you're making such a strong presence that your girl, like I said earlier, there's always going to be that one girl there for you. Your girl will spot you by a snap of a finger. Your girl will spot you by the snap of a finger. Within 10 seconds of walking into a bar, a girl knows whether or not she wants to fuck you.
So it sounds like we're talking about your kind of step 2 here, which is this, foundational physical stuff. And, I thought you gave a couple of great examples earlier, talking about your kind of step 2 here, which is this, foundational physical stuff. And, I thought you gave a couple of great examples earlier. What are the key common ones? What are a few that you could give us right now that could help us become more physically confident and to get rid of some of those, let's say, less than useful behaviors from when we were young?
Well, here's just a few of them. One is so many guys are used to walking through the world with their head down. Like, they're basically a byproduct to their own life. You've got to understand, you are your life. Stop being a byproduct to your own life. Stop watching life basically bypass you. Pick your head up. There's nothing wrong with picking your head up and walking down the street. There's nothing wrong with getting out of bed in the morning, picking your head up and say, yeah, today's going to be a good day. There's nothing wrong with that. Pick your head up. And it's actually really interesting because what you could do is a fun exercise is go stand in front of a mirror and look straight into the mirror. Look into your right eye. Focus only on your right eye. Okay? Just sit there for a second. And then what I want you to do is, all you got to do is tilt your head back. Tilt your head back. It's a natural movement of your eyelids to go down, to droop down when your head tilts back. Let your eyelids go down and then look into both of your eyes. You will have a completely different look about you. It's sexy. That is what is called sexy to women. Okay? It is a confident look. You have to feel comfortable looking into other people's eyes. If you're not comfortable looking into your own eyes, how are you supposed to feel comfortable looking into other people's? Start spending more time in front of the mirror. If you don't have a mirror right next to your doorway, walking out of your house, get one. Get one. 7 times out of 10, why do women cancel right before they come out? Because they don't feel good. They look in the mirror and they just don't feel sexy. When you leave, what gives you the right to just walk out like a slob? And when women are doing all this work, looking in the mirror, spending all this time in front of the mirror, doing everything they can to look good for you. And then you're just walking out of the house, just just dressed like a slob. Take care of yourself. Spend more time in the mirror. Make sure you feel good. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. Sometimes I'll wear a yellow shirt when I'm going out and I'll be like, no, it's just not there. I just won't feel sexy. And then I'll put a blue shirt on and I'm like, yeah, damn, I look good. You have to understand that this is a feeling. Being comfortable with yourself and being comfortable with women and being comfortable with those around you, it all revolves around a feeling. It's not about what you say. It's not about some line that you talk to her and say that's going to, basically drop her panties. It's not about that. It's how you feel. Because if you feel comfortable, you're going to make her feel comfortable. If you feel sexually confident, guess what? You're going to bring that sexually confident girl out of her. You're going to bring out and you're going to touch sexual desires that are deep within her, that she's waiting for that sexually confident guy to come, and she's dying to have some guy pull it out of her. A lot of guys have a lot of thoughts about women where they just don't think that women like to have sex. Well, I'm here to say, yes, they do. Women will have sex with you very fast. Women will have sex with you within the first hour of meeting them sometimes. Okay? It just depends on you. Women follow your lead. You have to take the lead. You're the man.
It's a really interesting twist on leadership that you just gave there, and I think that it'd be good for us to underline it. When you're saying you're the man, you take the lead, you're actually meaning you need to feel that way before she does. You need to feel that way about yourself before she can feel that way about you.
Absolutely.
It's a different twist on leadership. All right, give me the next one.
Another basic thing that you can do right away to start this whole new lifestyle and to go into this whole new paradigm, this world, is start putting yourself into alignment with what you want. Stop spending so much time on the computer. You're not going to, I don't care how much work you do on internally and on your foundation, and whether it be doing affirmations or do this or do that, I don't care how much work you do on your foundation, women are not going to just happen to just come knocking on your door. You have got to go out and put yourself into alignment with what you want. And one of the biggest things that you can do, there's so many things that you can do to get in front of women. It doesn't matter if they're all hot. It doesn't matter if they're all old. It does not matter. You need to start beginning to feel comfortable around women in general. Some of you are so outside of, you grew up playing video games, you grew up, on the computer, whatever your story is, it doesn't matter. It's got to stop now. It's got to change. If you're listening to this right now, you want to better yourself. You want to become good with women. But it's going to start with you. And when by that, I mean, it's when I'm saying starting with you, you have to take action. It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter saying, here you go. You're a ladies' man. No, it doesn't happen that way. You have got to take action. Get your ass out of the house. Get off the computer. Stop reading all these forums and blogs and this and that on how to meet women, and just go out and put yourself into alignment with it. Go join a yoga class. Go join a kickboxing class at the local gym. Go volunteer at the Humane Society. I don't give a shit. There's so many things going on out there right now where you can actually just put yourself 100% into alignment with what you want rather than sitting at home trying to come up with a magic pill, because there's no magic pill.
Yeah, that's such a great one. I was at a yoga class last week, and I put my mat down kind of off in an area where there weren't many other people around. I'm just kind of there to do my own thing. And during the class, a very attractive woman came in and put her yoga mat like right next to my mat. She was late, and she started doing her yoga thing. And at the end of the class, as I was rolling up my mat, she just turned to me and smiled and said, "Hi." And the epiphany went off in my head again. I've obviously had it a million times, since I've been thinking about this over the years. Guys really don't get that if you get out there and just do the things where you would automatically run into the kind of woman that you'd like to meet. It's almost like a bear standing next to the damn stream when the salmon are swimming up. It's, how could you screw it up? And, and yet what too many guys do is they sit around trying to practice their line in their head or, work it out in their mind before they ever, take step one. I mean, it's such a simple but obvious truth. Mm-hmm. Okay, what else? Give me another a thing that I can do to, kind of get my physical self together.
One of the biggest ones is just simply holding eye contact with other people. You're going to, okay, so we already established that you're going to be holding your head up when you're walking down the street. Now, what you need to do is simply hold eye contact with people. Don't be afraid to look into somebody's eyes. There's nothing wrong with walking down the street, walking into a bar, walking into the bookstore, and hitting eye contact with pretty much everybody in there. There's nothing wrong with that. One of the biggest things, actually, I'm going to kind of switch things around a little bit. One of the things that I've realized with another commonality with a lot of guys that I've worked with in the past is they literally go through life, with that rational mind. Okay, this is a common thing, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this. You go through life with this rational mind, and there's a big difference between doing that and how you actually view the world compared to how a person like me or a person like a woman views the world. There's two completely different worlds there. Okay? I take a soft approach, and you can too. Take a step back. One thing that I've noticed is when I say it's okay to look at everybody's eyes. Look at everybody's eyes. But one thing I realize is when you think with a rational mind, you focus so hard on that one thing when you do, and then you're bouncing, and it's literally like, it looks like your eyeballs are going from box to box to box. Okay? Now, if you take a softer approach, and you back your eyes off a little bit, and take a soft approach at the world, and you gaze at people. You got 10 people in a row, and just gaze at them. Don't lock eyes with each and every single individual. Just take a soft approach. You're using less energy that way, for one. And then when you do see a girl that you actually like, then boom, then you lock eyes. Your energy is there. You are sexually into that moment. You're nowhere else. You're not thinking, well, what do I do? What do I say? You're just there. You're appreciating her beauty. You're enjoying the moment. That's it. Take a soft approach. Practice this. Get the feeling of walking down the street. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel bad? Does it make you feel good? How does it make you feel? Because if it makes you feel good, and again, it's going to go back to those around you are going to feel good if you feel good. Take a softer approach. Stop being so damn analytical and rational about everything. You don't have to have a reason for everything in the world. There's no reason to look at life like that. None whatsoever. I don't care how you were raised, what you've done in the past, what your father told you, what anybody said. There's no reason to look at the world from a rational perspective. Take a soft view of the world, and I promise you it will open your eyes to a whole new world.
That whole thing just put me into a trance, but I think I get what you're talking about. I noticed in my own life, it's very difficult to see yourself objectively, right? It's very not simple to see what you're really doing because you've typically been doing it forever, right? I noticed in myself in the past, I would walk down a street, I'd kind of be hunched over and have my head down a little bit. I've had, let's just call it, less than my ideal posture for most of my life. And I work on it all the time, still to this day, to retrain myself, to communicate, the more abundant vision that I have of myself and not communicate this, closed up vision. But I noticed that, in the past I would walk down the street and I'd kind of be hunched over and I'd have my head down, and if I'd glance around and if I'd see an attractive woman walking down the street toward me, I would keep my gaze down. I would kind of avert it or, look over to the side until I got close enough. And then at the last minute, I'd try to look at her and hope that maybe she was looking at me. And then, I don't know, who knows, maybe, probably I was fantasizing about her stopping me and then saying, "Hey, what time is it?" And then as I told her the time, she said, "Are you doing anything right now?" I mean, who knows what I was thinking. But what I realized is that you can walk down the street. It's just one of my kind of transitional moments. You can actually walk down the street with your head up high, just like you said, much higher than usual, with a very comfortable glance or gaze down the street. And if you see an attractive woman coming, you can keep looking at her until she makes eye contact with you. And you can keep looking even past that. You want to avoid the opening your eyes too wide and giving her that I'm a weirdo and a stalker look, of course. But you're okay comfortably walking down the street and looking at a woman the whole time as she's coming toward you and right as she walks by. And in a strange way, it's counterintuitive to a lot of guys because they think, oh, they'll be rude, she'll catch them looking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's the opposite, right? That's not the way it is.
Right. The only thing, that I do have to put out there is your energy has to be right. You have to be in a good place. Mm-hmm. And when I say a good place, I mean right here, right now. Be in the moment. Because as soon as you start thinking and doubting, then you're going to put on a weird facial expression, and then you're going to put off an awkward vibe, and then it's just going to be an awkward moment when you look into her eyes. But if you can find that way to where you can just clear your mind, try this, practice this right here. You're walking down the street, you've got your head held high. Try just gazing at everything, just soaking it all up in, enjoying the view, the smell, just get the feeling, put a smile on your face. There's nothing wrong with smiling walking down the street by yourself, just purely enjoying life. Be there wherever you're at, whether you're in New York, Switzerland, California, I don't care where you are in the world. You've got to appreciate and accept where you are. Because when you accept where you are and you get clear on where you are, all that does is opens up things like inspiration to actually be able to bring new things into your life. And it opens up new doors. Inspiration, that's how we want to live. So when you're doing this, living in the moment, you really want to... So we're going to go back here. We're going to walk down the street. We got our head held high. We're going to gaze. We're going to be looking people in the eyes. The thing that you don't want to do, which I guarantee 99.9% of everyone that tries this will do this, is immediately when they see a girl that they're attracted to, 100 things will flash through your mind. And it's not good things. I'm not good enough. She's out of my league. Oh my God, she's so hot. That's just a couple of examples of what's going to go through your mind, okay? Some refer to some people, some other people got other ones. But all that is a limiting negative belief. And you have to train your mind to get rid of that stuff, okay? And it's as simple as this. Catch yourself. Stop yourself dead in the tracks when you're doing it. As soon as you you have got to be conscious of this everywhere you go. When you're walking down the street and as soon as you catch yourself saying, one negative thing, oh, she's out of my league, stop yourself and say, no, I deserve it. I deserve to have beautiful women in my life. And change those negative thoughts right there, dead on the spot. And I promise you, that's when the good energy will come back into you. And then it opens up the doors to new possibilities.
That was a very interesting affirmation you threw out there. What are your thoughts? I mean, I know you have some thoughts on affirmations. What are your thoughts on affirmations and how they can help?
I believe in them 100%. I've been doing affirmations all my life, not literally necessarily writing them or doing them in any certain way, but I've always had affirmations running through my mind. I've talked to many very, very successful people in the world, multi-billionaires, and they do the same thing, but they do it naturally. A lot of them have done it naturally. They'll put the intentions out there. They'll do the affirmations. They'll let them run through their mind. Some guys need structure, because to say, I'm a sexy motherfucker is completely outside of some guy's reality. To say, I deserve to have women is completely outside of some guy's reality. And you know what? That's fine. That is okay. But I promise you that you do deserve it, and you really are a sexy motherfucker. And the only reason that you're not getting the women that you want in your life is because you personally don't believe it. If you want to have beautiful women in your life, you have to start believing it. I don't care whether you think you can or whether you think you can't. You're right. If you don't think you're a sexy motherfucker, then you're not. You're not going to be. And if you don't think you're a sexy motherfucker, then nobody else is going to think you are.
So let's talk for a second about, kind of your next big step here, which is the idea of connecting with women genuinely and expressing interest. And as you were talking about this, you made a fascinating point, which is that it's not just about sex, that it's more about the connection. When you were talking in the beginning of the interview about meeting women everywhere you go and connecting with them everywhere you go, I think the assumption would be that what you meant is you meet women and sleep with them everywhere you go, but that's not what you said, right? You said You meet women and you connect with women everywhere you go, and then as it develops and we learn a little bit more about who you are, we realize that you're someone that actually enjoys connecting with women as people. So what is the distinction, and how can we better connect with women and then express interest, not just in a sexual way, but in a way that could lead to a sexual way?
Well, you have to, it begins with yourself again. You do your foundational work. There's a difference between a man being confident and a man being sexually confident. You have got to be comfortable with your sexuality. You've got to be able to be open with talking about it. Doesn't matter where you are, you've got to be comfortable with your sexuality.
What does that mean?
When's the last time you looked in front of the mirror naked and said, damn, I am a sexy bitch? Not many guys can do this. Women do this all the time. I do this personally all the time. And I promise you, I definitely don't have a sexy body. But because I believe it, those around me still believe it.
You also said talking about your sexuality. You must be comfortable talking about it.
You have to be comfortable talking about it. And it's just a simple thing, like when talking in a conversation, you've got to take action and be the leader in your group. And, I know every one of you listening can relate to me on this one, where you get into a situation, you're talking to a big group of people and it's all your friends, and the conversation totally goes stagnant. And it's just a awkward, uncomfortable, okay. So in that case, what I would do is I would speak up and I would say, okay, so let's talk about sex. That's a topic I enjoy. So let's go around the circle. When did everybody lose their virginity? Something just to open up and really be comfortable talking about it. So many people view sex as a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with sex. Okay, there's a lot of, in society and religion, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that we've all been filtered through. I know at one point in my life, I tried doing the whole born again virgin thing. It didn't work out too well for me, honestly. But I tried doing that. But we've got so many limiting beliefs saying that sex is bad, masturbation is bad, pornography is bad. Bullshit. It's human nature. We have desires. We need this in life. There's nothing wrong with masturbating. There's nothing wrong with sex. As long as you're enjoying it and obviously, being somewhat safe, there's nothing wrong with it. But you have to be comfortable with that. You have to be open with that. I have a lot of swinger friends, and swingers, are by far the most comfortable people with their sexuality. They're so open, and I fucking love it because they will talk about anything when they're around you. Anything. They will open up, and I'm sitting there and I go right with it because I'm the same way. There's nothing wrong with being open with your sexuality. Don't be ashamed as a man. Don't be ashamed of your sexuality. You have to feel comfortable with that. When you're comfortable with that, you're going to bring that desire out of a woman. Every single woman, the thing you got to understand about women is, women don't want to feel like whores. They don't want to feel like sluts. Okay? They have to save face. But yet at the same time, they think about sex just as many times as we do every day. They want sex. They fantasize. They masturbate. They do everything that we do as men. And that's one of the things that a lot of guys don't really think about. But they do. And they want it. But they keep it all bottled down into this little box within them. Because they don't want to be out there and they don't want to be perceived in society as a whore. If a guy goes out there and fucks 500 women, yeah, right on. If a woman does it, she's disgusting. Don't touch her. I mean, the thing is you just really gotta, the bottom line is you really gotta feel comfortable with your own sexuality. And that boils down to things that you can actually do to feel more comfortable is literally standing in front of the mirror naked. I know a lot of the shit that I talk about and the shit that I've talked about throughout this interview, it just seems like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm really supposed to stand in front of the mirror naked? Yes, you are. Do you want this or don't you? I guess that's a question that I got to ask, because if you want it, you're going to do it. If you don't listen to me. Don't apply anything I say.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about, the connector between connecting with a woman and then expressing interest. And how does that work and why is it important?
Well, connecting with women and showing interest, it's really... Ultimately, what it boils down to is true connection. Nothing else. When you can look into a woman's eyes and just know. And it's not just you knowing. It's her knowing. It's 100% a mutual connection that both of you know that you want each other bad. And I promise you, this can happen to every single one of you. Time after time after time again. The connection. It's natural for man and woman to have this connection. All you have to do is get rid of all these limiting beliefs. And that's where it begins. You got to start with your foundational work. But you have to really show and express genuine interest in getting to know her without any outcome. And I'm going to say that again, without any outcome. For the pure fact that so many guys are outcome oriented. They go into a situation, they talk to women, thinking, just wanting to score. That's all they want to do, is score with her, is to have sex. No, that's not what this is about. It's not about sex. It's about the connection that you have with yourself and that's the comfort that you have with yourself to be able to allow yourself to be open and have this connection with others. And when you can look and literally when you can go out and you can see this girl look into your eyes and you just both know. It doesn't matter what you say at that point. You both know. The only thing that can destroy that connection is if you start thinking. If you start doubting. And most guys out there destroy it before it even happens. That's where most guys are. Then they get to a point where, okay, well, they start noticing the connection, but then they destroy it because they start thinking after the fact. Okay, it's a process. It is a process, and I believe in every single guy out there. Every guy has this within him. It is a process, but I believe and I know that everybody can do it.
Good stuff, man. All right. So finally here, you said that what this all culminates in is what you called real game, and you said it's I game, and that 99% of women know it and only 1% of men do. Now, I happen to agree with you on this point, but tell me what the hell you're talking about, because this sounds like you've got some interesting distinctions that we're really going to get a lot from.
Right. And in the real game, what I consider the real game is the game that I've always played, the game that women all know, that I've actually talked to, for years and years, to women about. And, it's just, we agree 100%. I can't get one woman to disagree with me on this fact. A woman doesn't want to be approached. A woman wants to see a guy and have that connection from across the room. Okay? And this is how it begins. Say, let's just use me for an example on this. Say I walk into a room. I'm gazing the room from one area to the other. I lock eyes with this one girl. Bam. It's hot. I walk in and I position myself and I go up. I'm going to get a drink. I'm at a bar. I'm going to get a drink. But I position myself at the bar where I can see that girl that I locked eyes with immediately when I walked into the bar. And basically what happens is you're going to position yourself where you've got very open body language. You're not going to close yourself off and sit on a bar stool and face the bar. You're not going to face the bar. You're going to face the bar, just order your drink, and then you're going to turn sideways. So you're projecting yourself. You got your full body language out towards what you're looking for, which there's a girl out there. You're gazing. You're continuing to gaze the room. You hit eye contact with her. Boom. Again, it's hot. You can play this. You can do this. Sometimes this lasts 1 or 2 times, and then sometimes it lasts, 10 to 15 times. Every situation's different. So that's why you've got to get out of your head that not one size fits all with women. You've got to get that out of your head right now. The biggest thing with it is whether it's 1 to 3 times that you hit eye contact with her or 15 to 20 times, I don't care. What happens is she will reposition herself, whether she's with a group of her friends, whether she's in, a party, whatever. It doesn't matter if she's just with one friend. She's going to reposition herself closer to you. And guess what? That's your move. It's kind of like chess. You move, she moves. You move, she moves. Okay? So she moves, and then I got to move. That's my call. Then I move. Then she moves. And let's cut to the chase and say, I'm standing at the bar, she positions herself, we started the eye contact when she was 30 feet away on the other side of the bar. She just happens to be standing next to me. That's my move. That's my cue to say, hey, how are you? The connection was there 30 feet away, 20 minutes beforehand. The connection was already there. So it doesn't matter. You don't need to know what to say. Who cares? The connection is already there. All you got to do is look into her eyes, and say, hey, how are you? And then just let things happen. Again, you don't need to figure things out from that point. Just let things happen. And I promise you, wild things will happen. A lot of guys in the beginning phases of this, when things start happening, so yeah, they'll call me up and they'll be like, yeah, so I was out at a bookstore and this girl just happened to be, this girl that I had eye contact with, like on the way in, she just happened to like position herself right next to me, and I was like so weirded out. I'm like, holy shit, did Cory put her there? And I can.
Is this the Matrix?
It almost seems like magic, but it's not magic. It's reality. Girls know how to play this fucking game.
I am so with you on this, and I think it's valuable to call up something that you've already said in a few different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, we humans have been getting together successfully for a while now. Okay, there are 6.4 billion or something of us alive right now. Every single one of them had two parents that figured out how to connect and get together. And we've been doing this since before we had language. The process has developed itself. And so when you're saying get out of the way and let it happen, you're not talking about some woo-woo thing here that's, because I can imagine, some guys, I got to play devil's advocate, by the way. I hope you realize,
Absolutely.
Cory. But, I can imagine some guys saying, what are you talking about? Just get out of the way and let it happen. I mean, this is, what we're talking about is the real deal here. You got to get rid of the negative programming and all the BS in your head. And then you've got to, find that powerful sexual self inside of you and develop and become comfortable and integrated into you. And you know what to do, all right? You don't have to, go read some book about it. You know what to do and how to do it. The equipment's all there.
I agree 100%. It's there. It's built within us. It's in our genetics as men. It's there. It's all about letting go of the past and becoming clear enough and understanding how the real world works. Stop being a byproduct of your own life. You've got to understand, when I walk into a bar, and when any of the guys that walk into a bar that I work with, they own the place. You have to make a presence. It's okay to stand out. Nobody's going to look at you and say, oh, look at that dork over there, when you're walking into a place and you're making a really strong presence. It's not going to happen. It doesn't happen that way, guys. And I know a lot of guys out there like to think that when they go into a place, they're so worried about what other people are viewing them as. I've got something to say about that. People don't care. Nobody cares what you're doing. They really don't. If you stand out and you're projecting yourself as a sexy motherfucker, that's a good thing. The only thing that people will say is, well, for one, guys will say, oh yeah, he's an asshole. Girls will be like, damn, who is that? There's nothing wrong with standing out. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable with your sexuality. There's nothing wrong with being a man. Walk with your balls. I've got a lot of exercises that I do with all my guys that, revolve around, focusing on your balls. You've got to be a man. Stop being a little boy. Stop sitting, when you go sit on a couch, the next time you go sit on a couch at a bar, like a lounge or whatever it is, after you sit down, kind of look at where you're sitting. And I promise you're sitting over to the right-hand side or to the left-hand side with your legs closed, with your arms closed off. You got very closed off body language. Now, does that sound like a sexy motherfucker sitting down? Absolutely not. Does that sound like a man that's got balls between his legs and he's not afraid to show it and express it to the world? Absolutely not. Is that going to get any attention from a woman? Absolutely not. You have to start making these changes. But the decision's yours. You have to start. You have to make the decision. How bad do you want it?
Tune in next time for more from Skyy Lifestyles. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and visit us at coryskyy.com.